Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, you touched on the border with Mr. McCall, but it's such an important issue that I'd like to follow up on it. Now, obviously, border security is principally within the purview of the Department of Homeland Security, but there's clearly a foreign affairs aspect to the relationship between the United States and Mexico and the United States and Central America, and you're here. And what's happening now at our southern border is, in my view, a national disgrace. Now, it's always made sense to me that one answer to stemming the tide of the mass humanity fleeing places like Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador and Mexico is to help those countries improve the conditions there that cause the people to want to leave their own country in the first place. Fight the drug gangs that control neighborhoods and prey on people and target their children. Improve economic conditions. Reduce rampant governmental corruption. You and I probably agree on those things, and I note by the nodding of your head that we do. But this administration, unfortunately, policies toward our southern border since taking office a mere 7 weeks ago has, in my view, been feckless, incompetent. The Biden administration has a real mess on its hands, and it's a mess of its own making. This administration has essentially signaled to the world, come on in, our border's open, you can stay, and they're coming. Unaccompanied minors, way up. Single males, way up, many with COVID, and it's getting worse. Former detention centers are now called reception centers. The previous administration was criticized for allegedly holding kids in cages. Those photos, of course, turned out to be photos that had been taken during the Obama-Biden administration. But I'd argue the administration that you're part of is doing worse. Now, the previous administration, as Mr. McCall had mentioned, had skillfully reached agreements with Mexico and other countries to keep their migrants there, not here, pending the resolution of their immigration matters. As a result, illegal immigration into this country and the accompanying stress on the American taxpayers had much improved. Now, rather than requiring people to remain outside the U.S. while waiting for their immigration hearings, this administration has brought back catch and release. You're letting people into the U.S. and wait here for their hearings, even though you know that the vast majority of them are going to disappear into the interior of the U.S. and never show up for their hearings. This border crisis is real, and it's getting worse. Don't the American people deserve better than this?
So I would disagree with some of the factual predicates of your statement, but having said that, a couple of things. You're right, of course, that this is also a foreign policy challenge for the United States. Could not agree more. And in the early going, we've had intensive engagement with all of the countries in the Northern Triangle. I've spoken to all of my counterparts, and of course with Mexico, where President Biden has had a virtual visit, a virtual summit meeting with President López Obrador. We had a similar engagement with my counterpart and other members of the government. We're working very closely with Mexico on what is a common challenge, including securing its own southern border, working to give people incentives also to stay in place and not come to the United States. To your point as well, where we very much agree, and I'd welcome an opportunity to work with you and other members of the committee, we have to deal with the drivers of migration, to your point. And I think there is real opportunity there to do that. When President Biden was Vice President, as you may remember, he led an effort, very successful effort, a bipartisan effort with Congress to secure significantly more resources to help Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador deal with some of these drivers, whether it came to security, whether it came to corruption, whether it came to economic opportunity. And we did this in a way that was not simply throwing money at the problem, but demanding concrete reforms from these countries that actually materially improved the situation for people there and took away some of the incentives for them to come to the United States. We now have a proposal with additional resources over 4 years to do that, and to do that in a, I think, potentially effective way so that we can take some of those drivers away. So I'd really welcome an opportunity to talk to you about that, to work on that, and hopefully get support from Congress.
Thank you. I'm almost out of time, but I look forward to working with you. I've been a long-time member of this committee, and there's a lot of things we can work together on. Look forward to doing that.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.